Sooner or later, they're going to buy.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our special call board meeting of Wednesday, April 12th. If everybody would please stand. Commissioner Collins, if you would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vicki, if you lead us in prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us here this morning. And as we approach Easter Sunday, we also ask that you help us begin a new time here at the port, and that our board finds peace and the wisdom to make the best decisions for the benefit of our port and our community. In the holy name we pray.
Amen. Amen. You may be seated. Does anyone sign up to make a public comment? If not, we'll go ahead and go directly to our first item, which is consider an act to authorize staff to negotiate purchase of approximately 350 acres of land from the Jones Estate.
Yes, sir.
On the north side of Highway 48, which is northeast of the fishing harbor, subject to board approval of the appraised value and price per acre offered by the estate. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, commissioners and visitors, good morning. This was some information we received, and I spoke with Mr. Jones. He explained that for many years they have had an excellent relationship with the BND, and they have sold land to the district before. And they are thinking about considering offering this land and to the port. Would we have an interest? Of course, they want to find a fair value, appraised value that will be a win-win for both parties if that transaction should go through. So this is just the initial stages of the negotiation, if you will, if the board so considers this to be of interest to us. It is on the north side of Highway 48. It's about 347 acres exactly, and we think it's important to think about because it's highway frontage. And it's also an area that gives access to other properties that belong to the port. We understand that probably now is not the best time to be purchasing things with some other things we have, but would like for you to know about it and consider it. And I would ask B to add any details to that.
The owners of the property are Vista del Mar Irrigation Company. Mr. Jones, Lawrence Jones is the president, and he represents this company. So he's the one that called and presented this, and we said, well, we'd take it to the board and see what our board is interested in this, us acquiring this property. And he said, well, let me know, and then he would, I asked him if he had a price per acre. He said, no, we'd have to have it appraised in order to come up with a value per acre.
Sort of point out where the area is.
Yes, sir. Here's a fishing harbor. We have this little strip of land here, and it would be this area, which is about 347 acres.
All I know about this area is right across from the fishing harbor. It's a very low area.
Low?
Very low. A lot of rain. Like San Martin Lake is right behind that.
The east part of it's all wetlands. I don't think we'd ever be able to do anything with it. Possibly on the west end,
maybe.
There might be some land that we could use, but at least 50% in wetlands. But it depends on the price. I mean, it'd have to be pretty cheap because a lot of it's not usable.
In fact, all that's across from the fishing harbor, you see, I don't really live to use that.
Right now, we need to save all our money for Dock 16. Understand that.
But if the price is right, you can look at it.
Who would pay for the appraisal, Mr. Lewis?
Was that discussed, B?
He said he would have it appraised.
Okay.
So
Okay. I think we could come to terms.
The price didn't come up as to who would pay for it. He just said they would have to have it appraised.
I think that would be on them. Mr. Gutierrez, do you have any additional comments, observations?
No, sir, except that I do agree with
both Commissioner Collins and Gaiman that it is kind of low area in there, but if you look at that rectangle that we have in there, it's already developed. And the chances are fairly good, in my opinion, that we could still continue to have strip development in there if we had more land. Now, as far as the wetlands, and yes, the back part is all wetlands, but it would seem like to me that if the board wants to negotiate with its folks in the appraisal, we would have to be real careful and be sure we delineate where all these wetlands are and deduct that from whatever price they come up with, because like you're saying, we can't do anything with wetlands. We can't even mitigate because it's already wetlands. But certainly that should be taken into account in the appraisal process. But I think we would want to be real careful that whoever appraises this, that he doesn't miss any wetland acreage, and we would want to look at that also.
Let me ask you this, Daniel. In a situation like this where, let's say that a good portion of it is wetlands and unusable for development, would the appraisal typically come back with a value for what I'll call the good acreage, or will it come back for a total value that includes the unusable acreage?
The appraiser is going to follow the instructions of his client. And if his client says, give me a dollar figure for this property as a whole, that's what he's going to give you. But if you provide him with additional information or additional instructions, such as appraise the front as a separate unit, he can do that. If you say, take into account that the back portion may be restricted in its development potential, he can take that into account, but his client's going to have to provide him with that information. He's not necessarily going to have the expertise to look at it and say it's wetlands, it can or cannot be developed. That information is going to have to be provided to him. But if it were, yes, he could say the front is worth X thousand dollars an acre and the back is worth less.
How much would an appraisal to get one done cost approximately? Any idea?
$3,500.
Four figures, somewhere $2,000 to $5,000.
The only thing I'm worried about is having him get his appraiser to do it, and then he's giving the instructions of what exactly to do, and then we get given an appraised value that may or may not benefit us, not knowing what instructions were given. That's my only concern about us ourselves not doing our own appraisal of the property. Having said that, I agree with what the commissioners are saying and what Nino said, and you know, is it something we want to invest in, and then maybe we should probably get our own appraisal as well.
Can I address that?
Yeah.
One thing we could possibly do on this is, of course, if he appraises the property as a whole, and we, of course, have the option to go in there and delineate those wetlands and say, okay, there's X number of acres, and then we negotiate with them based on that. And if you all feel more comfortable, like Commissioner Cristiano's saying, is to hire our own appraiser, that's fine, but I think the takeoff would be to see what they give us, nothing binding at this point, and then we would go in there and say, well, but X number of acres are wetlands.
That sounds good.
You want to make a motion, Commissioner?
I'll make a motion to that unless you have something to add.
I'm not sure what the motion is, frankly.
I'll make a motion for to authorize the staff to talks with these individuals to get an appraised value for the land, and that we can continue discussion
Appraisal at their expense, right?
at their expense.
All right, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 2.
Well, just as a statement, this does not bind us to any sort of.
Well,
Okay.
and I was going to say, I would not invest any of the district's money in an appraisal or other studies until you have an offer from
Right.
this person to sell it to you.
Right.
Because a contract could be signed contingent on your getting your own appraisal, contingent on engineering studies
Correct.
and so forth.
All we're telling them is, if you'd like to get it appraised at your expense, we'd be more than happy to review it and decide whether it fits our business purpose and business plan and go forward. Okay? Item number 2, consider an act on amending the organizational and salary charts and approve the job description of Director of Operations. Joe?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you've received the revised organizational and salary chart and the new job description for Director of Operations. It's ready for your consideration and approval.
Mr. List?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. These changes are a result of what everybody knows, that our good Secundino Gutierrez has made a decision to retire and move on. We're all, I think all of us here are saddened because of that, and not just on a personal basis, but also because of the projects and the good productivity and the results that he has left for us, from the railroad relocation to many things, and hopefully he will stay with us in one way or the other as we move on to Dock 16 and so on. As the director, and part of my assignments are to, and it's what I'm getting paid for, is to make the best organizational decisions for the port as we face our challenges ahead. I thought it through. I compared somewhat with other areas, and decided that it's important to have a position, somebody that oversees operations. We are a large port as far as the tonnage and the activity, over 5 million tons a year, and we are growing. We have a lot of infrastructure ahead of us. A lot of these assignments require professional activity. Somebody that has experience with projects, project management, and some of the things that are listed there in the job description. And so therefore it is my recommendation that we consider not a deputy, but a person that would be solely dedicated to the operations of this port and reporting to me until such time as we feel that organizational chart is the goals that we have with that are fulfilled, and we feel that the accomplishments are there. And that is why I'm recommending that. I have been approached by several people that disagree with that organizational chart and that structure. And I just want to emphasize that it's very important that we have the best structure possible for the effectiveness, especially of our projects. And I want to point out an example of that. I've been here a few months, and I was approached by Mrs. Emard about the relocation, the redevelopment of the BRG Railroad for Dock 15, and that we needed to move on with that project. And I agreed with that. I tried to get into it, understand it. We had a meeting. She was upset that this wasn't happening fast enough. And so as we got into it, we discussed it. I started to understand the reason it wasn't moving, and that's where I think a professional person is important for us, because the reason it wasn't moving forward is because there were some drainage issues and some hydraulic needs that had to go along with laying track. If you just simply lay down the railroad track and you don't take into account all the professional recommendations such as drainage and other items, you will find that years later, and the people that inherit the responsibility of administering the port in the future might say, who made this bad decision? And I didn't want to be a part of that. And so we held off. And I think the project is going to be done correctly. And this and other things are what I'm envisioning with bringing a person in with broad experience that has an understanding for engineering, has spent a lot of time with that, and project management, and so on and so on. So this is my recommendation.
So you already know who you want to hire for this position?
No, sir, that is incorrect, and I've been challenged that is what I have been doing, and that is incorrect. If the board approves the organizational chart today, we will advertise for that position. We have 2 applicants already for the director of operations, and they are certainly to be considered. I was also accused that I wrote the job description to favor one person, and that is incorrect as well. I'm here to do the best for the port. And after we advertise, hopefully we'll get some good candidates, and any of those can be selected. I assure you that will be the process.
This will be advertised for the second time because it had already been advertised.
That is correct. There was an error with that. You are correct, Commissioner. And I apologize for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the organizational chart. I think it's important that the port director runs the port, and that's what we hired you to do. And so I'll make the motion to approve it.
And the organizational chart change as well as the job description?
Yes.
I'll second that motion for purposes of discussion. Anything else, Mr. List?
No, sir. I think that concludes us. There's a lot more in it, and we hope to come up with an individual. A lot of resources, good on their feet, will help us as we move forward with Doc 16, which is very important. A lot of hours need to be spent with that. It has to be a roll-up-your-sleeves type of person, and so on and so on. And really looking forward to that as being a major injection of energy into our management structure.
I just have one more thing to say. One last chance, Nino.
When are you leaving, Nino?
I'm in May.
Do you envision some opportunity to train your successor?
Depends on the timing. That's what I do.
Are you talking about at the end of May, or?
It depends on the project that I need to close out.
Please don't ask him any more questions.
Let me ask you this. Can you shed any additional light on this example that Mr. List gave about this Dock 15 moving of the track? Were you involved in that?
Which one is?
The example that he mentioned about the move.
Yes, sir.
The only thing I can say is that there was a difference of opinion in what was being built, and I objected to what was being built for engineering reasons. And I think we're on track now with it. I think the way that this thing was proposed was going to be a big mistake, and certainly I couldn't endorse something like that. But we're on track now, and it's been done engineered right, in my opinion.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, let's go ahead and take a record vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion fails.
Well, I guess we can discuss it tomorrow.
Yeah. Sure.
I
can't discuss in open session because I've got some things that would, legal issues that I cannot say out in open session.
This looks like getting back to not letting the port director run the port. If the commissioners are going to run the port, I don't think that's what we intended this to be.
My objection to this is I don't believe it's the right time to do it now. We have to add on another $80,000 a year
How much did you want to pay for
No,
this?
no, that, it goes between 50 and up, all the way up to 90, 52 to 92, there's a range.
Commissioner, it's not that you kind of were looking at the $85,000 range?
I said 80 to 85 because, again, what I said up there was we want to get a good person, a really highly qualified person.
Commissioner,
This is
we're not
important.
adding 80,000, we're actually paying less than what Nino's currently making.
Yes, this is not a new position, this is a downsizing, it's a downsizing of a
I would
current
like
position.
to, I would like to just say that I do have some things to say in executive session, but I can't say them in open. They have to do with personnel, and I can't discuss them in open session.
We'd like to hear from you in executive session. But as far as your comment is concerned, you're not adding 80,000 worth of payroll.
We are adding a position.
No, sir. It's Nero's position downsized.
At a savings.
His will go away.
How much are you making right now, Nino? You're actually saving, what, $15,000?
15 to $20,000.
What I'm getting at,
Yes, sir.
well, that's my own opinion. The staff could pick up the slack and see how it goes when Nino goes, and it'll give us more time to review his position, what it was, and everything else. Right now, I'm not for doing anything more than what we. I'm not for I'm for replacing Nino. If he wants to stay on, he stays on. But this is a position that's in the books again. Okay, we got two other positions. That's in.
Who's going to be the project manager of Dock 16?
What about this fellow over there?
Who?
We have an engineer there.
Hector.
You'd be appointing Hector as project manager of Dock 16?
If you could be, he's an engineer.
Do you feel that you have the time to dedicate yourself to Dock 16 with your other responsibilities?
If that's what the board wishes, I take the challenge
And
I'll let you know if I have requested a graduate engineer to be on board, which is also have approved. If he can take the slack of some of the day-to-day activities, I'll try my best.
thank you.
Thank you. What you're saying, Hector, is that if you were appointed project manager of Dock 16, you would need to have an engineer hired to pick up some of the slack of that additional work?
I have already requested a graduate engineer, not just for Dock 16, since we're about to embark on the feasibility studies that are going to take a little bit more of my time, one, meeting, travel, and planning on growth rather than on the day-to-day activities like the reports for the wastewater plants, water breaks, and things of the sort. So all I can tell you is that to me it's a professional challenge, and I'm ready to step up to the plate if needed.
That would involve in creating an additional position there as
No,
well.
that position's already been created, or he's asking for it, regardless.
Well,
it's not regardless, because the objection was made that an additional position would have to be created, and this is an additional spot that's asking to be filled.
We have people and staff right now could step up. And, I've been in business a long time. And I had people working for me. When I haven't seen somebody that was good enough to step up, from the ranks, I tried to pull them up from the rank and step them up instead of going outside and hire other people. And that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Collins, can I address that? And we're in open session, but I'll be very frank. And it's objective. It's not personal. What I'm going to say. Before I came, and many things I heard, there was a lot of conflicts between the two deputies. And I've worked very hard to bring peace in the organization, and I think that is happening. But I still feel that part of the conflicts are because I don't feel that we can put a person supervising all the professional challenges that we have before us if they don't have experience doing that. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's not personal. Maybe a time will come where like Mr. Gaiman says, me and my responsibility feel comfortable with that, and then we could readdress it, and I would be fully okay with that. But right now, I repeat, we have so many activities in front of us that I just don't think we have the time to wait and see if things are going to work out the way we expect them to work out. I think, and my whole proposal to this is to hopefully get somebody that has the experience, knowledge, what you call a senior person, to hit the ground running. and keep our projects going. And that's where I'm coming from, and I want to reassure that it is not personal. I haven't designed this for any one person. I'm trying to be objective for the needs of this port and as we grow, and that's the most important thing. And to spend the time waiting for something to happen. If it was another position maybe that you're trying to advance people within your, I'm fully in agreement with what you're saying. But this is a high level. It's one of the regrets of Nina leaving is because of that. There's so many things in motion, and that's what I've been trying to do is to see if we can bring somebody in time to sit with Nino, railroad relocation, all the other activities, the work they're doing with the BRG. All this is important to make sure that we are managing it, and it's not managing us or going into chaos or bring somebody brand new or totally green to these kind of activities and to our local understanding and what's in play. And so that's where I'm coming from.
Well, Nino would be hard to replace. I know that. I mean, a man of his caliber, they'll come by every day. So, you'd have to get somebody, and you have to, like you say, maybe train him for a while. But if to do that, again, right now, I'm not in favor of the decision. Now, maybe a couple of months from now, it might be. I don't believe it's the right time right now.
What's wrong about the time right now to replace somebody as valuable as Nino? What's wrong about that?
I'm not in favor right now, Peter. That's all I can say.
Just last month, we created an entirely new position that didn't even exist on any radar screen at this port, the Director of Governmental Affairs. Now, that was a new position. That position never existed here at the Port of Brownsville, and that was actually a position created by a commissioner.
But it was your idea.
I'm just saying, if the objection is creating a new position, this port just created a new position. Now, Jules, I don't think you were here when that was discussed, in all fairness to you, but everybody else voted on it unanimously. And that was a position that was created on the motion of Commissioner Cristiano. We all supported it. So there is precedent, immediate precedent for creating a new position. And that position, we created that position knowing that it's actually being accomplished much by Ms. Emord right now. This is not a new position. This is a refocusing of a current position for an employee that has submitted his resignation that there's a great need for, and we're saving money in the salary to boot. So this idea that it's a new position is not only wrong, it's a red herring.
Do you think we're top-heavy at this port?
I think that we're commissioner trying to run the port heavy. We need to let the port director run the port.
I think we've already taken the vote.
Yeah.
We've already got it, so let's get on.
Yeah.
I got something I want to say. That, when I originally ran for office, I ran because the commissioners were running the port. The port director wasn't running the port. And Jim Cruz was the port director, and he quit. And I think that was because the commissioners were running the port instead of letting the port director run the port. So I think it's very important that the port director runs the port. Now, when I got elected, me and Julius and Roy told Mr. B that you got our votes. We want you to run the port. We don't want the commissioners running the port. We want you to run the port. And 8 years I've been on the board. Every time Mr. B came in and wanted to change something on the organizational chart, we did it. So, to me, this is going back the way it was before, where the commissioners are trying to run the port instead of the port director. And I just don't understand why the turnaround.
I got to ask Dan one question. Dan, are we creating a new position by job description?
Well, you're in effect creating a position and deleting a position. You're deleting the position of Deputy Port Director of Operations, and you're creating a new position, Director of Operations. So there is not an increase in the number of positions.
And there's a net payroll savings of
$20,000,
$15,000. And along the lines of what Commissioner Gaiman said, my observation is that Commissioner De Los Santos and Collins were here when Mr. Bastado brought in Ms. Emord and created a brand new position, a position that had never been filled before. And I'm sure you approved of that position, Commissioner, and I'm sure you approved of her salary, because you wanted Mr. Bustado to have the opportunity to run the port and bring someone in that he could have confidence in while he was away, and make sure that his agenda and his responsibilities were being carried out. And I just think it's wrong of us not to extend that same courtesy to Mr. List. He's trying to do the same thing. Anything else, Commissioner?
Well, the other thing, if we don't change the chart, then it would seem to me that Bernie can just hire someone to take Nino's position, and that doesn't change the chart. So I think that's an option that Mr. List would have, is to just fill Nino's position as a deputy director.
The other option is for me to kidnap Mr. Gutierrez and make sure that he doesn't resign. I think that's a good option. Any further discussion in open session? All right, we're going to go ahead.
Comment?
Yes, sir.
First of all, let me clarify this. I appreciate the comment that Mr. Collins has made about me and being hard to replace. But what I'm reading here is, take my name off of that slot, is that the commission doesn't feel that their job should be there.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm having a problem with, because I feel real strong that the job should be there. And, or whatever.
I think that's a very good point, Commissioner. Mr. Gutierrez. No one ever, even as recently as this organizational chart, ever suggested that your position be eliminated. Okay?
I think you could just go ahead and advertise for a deputy port director, then take applications.
Well, you're the
You don't have to
professional here,
change
Mr.
anything.
List, and this is the port that we hired you to run, and you can certainly take that into consideration. Anything else for open session? If not, we'll stand adjourned for executive session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Easter to everyone.
Yeah.